Well, today, downstate, the polls are open. They open at 6 a.m., but upstate, at least here in our county areas, Herkimer, Madison, Oneida, all opening at 12 noon today, the polls. Registered Republican or Democrat, whatever, and you get to vote in today's primary. Hillary Clinton is facing Bernie Sanders, and Harvey Weinstein, Hollywood producer, is on the line right now, and he is in support of Hillary Clinton. Good morning, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, Bill. How are you?
Great to hear from you. And you know, it's all come to this in New York. We've been hearing nothing but commercials all for the last 2 weeks. So, why Hillary? What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, it's just I've been a long-time Hillary supporter. I know her, and you know, I know her for the kind, compassionate person she is, and I've also seen her as Secretary of State. You know, probably, you know, I think she travels in like 94 countries. And ironically, you know, that experience, that smartness, that devotion, you know, and also in person, she's funny and kind and a doting grandma, you know, and, but ironically, I wasn't really, you know, that active in the campaign until my daughter, who's 18, I have 5 kids, you know, from 3 to 21. My 18-year-old, who's unfortunately for me, a New England Patriots fan, and the entire other family is Jets, Giants. You know, it goes on and on about Tom Brady. We can't take it in that family. It figures that this would be the Bernie Sanders person. And, you know, up until about 4 weeks ago, she was. And then Bernie criticized Hillary and said she was unqualified. And Emma and all her 18-year-old girlfriends who have been working for him just said, you know what, Dad, this is crazy. You know, you can criticize her for politics, but qualified Secretary of State, Senator twice, First Lady, you know, civil rights lawyer. She's qualified, and they thought it was a little sexist, a little anti-feminine, you know, and just also they were so disappointed that Bernie was getting negative. They went in with idealism, and I said, you know, that's what happens. People smell victory. Yeah. All of a sudden, they desert their own ideals, but then every day, I mean, I got to tell you, Bill, I'm just getting like bombed with, you know, the internet. You know, I can hardly, you know, type. And Emma and her girlfriends every day, Paul Krugman's article, Bernie Sanders, the policies don't add up. You know, I said, why did you guys support him in the first place? They said, we wanted free school. Yeah. You know, we wanted free lunch. We wanted free medicine, free everything. I go, guys, you know, whatever. What about that? Who's going to? Somebody has to pay for that. For it? Yeah. You know, our tax rates will go up. The country will go bankrupt. You know, they said, we don't care. We just want the free school.
How do you? And that is, it's really interesting because it's that young group that before you, I don't know, maybe we weather a little bit. We begin to.
Some say mature,
gain a few calluses, and you realize, wow, that's just not logical. But I want to. You're describing a woman that is sweet and friendly and a grandmother. You do have to understand that there have been commercials and internet stuff, and I mean, demonizing this person. When you describe this wonderful, sweet woman, I'm afraid there are a lot of people out there that don't see her that way. So, how do you see that, and others don't? And tell us why they should see it.
Well, I think, you know, look, I mean, you know, Hillary's been at the center of so many, you know, different, you know, politics. You know, along the way, you know, things, you know, change. You know, votes, you know, are controversial at a time. You know, they become something. You know, when you hear weapons of mass destruction, and the president, the CIA tell you it's impossible not to think about Iraq in that way. And then later on, you find out that they were lied to, and you know, of course, they have to, you know, apologize and just say, God, I fell for it, or I was duped, or you know, it's hard to believe that the CIA and the president would dupe somebody, but okay, you know, in whatever their motivation was, they didn't do thorough checking. When you're at the center of decisions, you mean it's, you know, people are not going to you make one decision that people like, the next day you have to make a decision that people don't like. That's the nature of leadership. And quite frankly, in America, we always like the new guy because the new guy's got the clean record. Yeah, you know, it's not so you say, okay, Hillary did this, I don't like her. Hillary did this, I like her. She's done so much, you know, over the years that there's a lot to praise her for and a lot to criticize her for. And let's face it, you know, from when Bill Clinton was president and she first, you know, proposed health care, the Republicans have demonized her, and they've done it for years. The ironic thing about all of it is that Richard Scaife Mellon, the guy who tortured Bill Clinton relentlessly, at the end of his time, he and Bill became friends, and Bill spoke at his funeral and gave the eulogy. I think that's a remarkable thing about, the Clintons, that their enemies become friends. And look, it's time, the Republicans have a lot of money. They don't want to see Hillary Clinton. She's too talented, too good. I mean, she'll change things, make things better for middle-class people. And, they're going to spend their money protecting country club politics. I mean, it's in the best interest of the Republican Party that the rich stay in power, that they control this country. And and Hillary's the person who's going to upset that apple cart, and not in a radical way like Bernie Sanders, and do it without, any idea of practically getting those points across. Saying that the state governments are going to help him, when 50% of the state governments are conservative Republican governors. I mean, none of that is thought out.
Yeah.
Hillary will get these things done. They fear her. They will demonize her. People do whatever they have to do to preserve their power.
Harvey Weinstein, Hollywood producer, on with us right now in support of Hillary Clinton. Christine.
Harvey, if she wins New York, is this a fait accompli in your opinion? Because no one feels that Ted Cruz really has a chance against her. Donald Trump doesn't have a chance against her. And if she wins New York, is she the next president?
Well, I think, she has a tremendous chance of being, the next president. I think New York is a big key to it. I hope people go out and vote for her today. And I just think that, I just think at a certain point, if the math, which maybe I keep saying Bernie, like Paul Krugman said in the New York Times, Bernie's, politics and economic policy do not add up. They cripple the country. They're unreal. The math, and I guess maybe that's the reason he doesn't drop out of the campaign. But it's kind of weird, isn't it? The guy's getting $30 million, spending money. If she wins New York today and gets all those delegates, it's almost mathematically impossible for him to win, and yet he'll continue to spend all those people's dollars, the young people's dollars that he's so boastful about. What does that do? He still can come to the convention. He should be allowed to speak. He has, excited America. He deserves a viewpoint. But stop this ridiculous spending of money. Put the money into, people who need it. Give that money to charity. Give that money to kids.
But couldn't you say the same about Hillary?
I mean, I think, at this point, I hope Hillary and Bernie after New York both stop spending money on the campaign.
Yeah, the Cooney event, George Cooney event, was probably the worst timing. Here's Sanders criticizing her for the money and criticizing it. All of a sudden, you had this huge big ticket dinner. But the money's needed, right? To run a campaign, you got to have the money.
Well, look, you're running against, the Republican Party has 100 PACs to the Democrats 1. These super PACs. This is not, Hillary or Bernie or any Democrat. This is Citizens United. The Supreme Court, allowed them to spend what they would on an election. We have a terrible situation where these big corporate guys just go out and spend, whatever they want to spend to preserve their power. And they don't want regulation in their factories. They don't want to pay their workers. They want to try to get away with as much as they can to preserve their socioeconomic situation. I grew up in Queens. I'm a kid from Flushing. I lived in Electchester, across the street from the city projects of Palmanock and Renton, Troping. I grew up, and at least in my family, we were, the word that we lose was pass it on. I've been successful and I've been financially successful. So to me, I want to, I want to respect the people like myself who depended on the government, for an opportunity for a break. Without the GI Bill, my father was a veteran, we wouldn't have made it. And I want to remember that and pass that on, to people. I think Hillary's the best conduit of that, and I think the Republicans will spend billions of dollars to rip her apart. I know George personally. I know George, on one hand, felt that he was helping Hillary by raising that kind of money, and he is. And on the other hand, just the whole idea that kind of money has to be put into politics in this country is crazy.
All right, one quickie. Of course, Harvey Weinstein, co-founder of Miramax and the Weinstein Company as well. If you've seen movies, you've probably seen some of his work and some of his great work. I want to ask you just quickly before you go about the diversity situation in the Oscars. A lot of talk about that. What are your thoughts? Is there a problem with the Oscars?
Well, I just the year before this, I made 3 movies. I made Nelson Mandela with Idris Elba as Mandela. We did Fruitvale Station, a movie that we found at Sundance, which was directed by Ryan Coogler, who directed Creed with Michael Jordan. And we did with The Butler. Lee Daniels directed it with Oprah Winfrey and David Oyelowo and an amazing cast.
Yeah.
The movies did extremely well, but the only Oscar nomination all 3 of those movies got was for U2, which did the title song in Mandela. So, not one. Crazy. Oprah Winfrey got nominated for Golden Globe, got nominated for British Academy Award, and nothing at the Academy. So I think a lot of it needs to be readdressed.
Yeah.
And I think the way we do it is to, get a more diversified Academy membership. Right now, people are saying, well, if you're not a member in good standing, we're going to take your voting rights away. That's not the way to do it.
Sure.
The way to do it is expand the membership, and for people like us to continue to make the kind of movies that are compelling, and so compelling, that people will say, whatever, that there is no, it's not even a question of diversity. It's the quality of the film and the theme is so strong and compelling that, it brings up, we the producers have to do this. We can't just blame it on the Academy. We have to take it, every company, Disney, Weinstein, Fox, everybody, we all have to shoulder our burden, and I believe the studios are starting to do that now. I think next year you're going to see an incredibly diverse race.
I thought Chris Rock really handled it well. He was in a tough position, and I really thought he did a great job. It was great work by him, I think.
I did too. And really, at the same time that he dealt with the situation, he also deflated the situation, which was great. He's funny and he's a good voice, for this country.
Harvey Weinstein, a pleasure to have you on, and of course the stumping, all for Hillary today. Big day. We appreciate your time.
And when this election is over and these politics are over, if you guys ever want to talk movies, I'm coming back.
Love it. All right, we're all about that. Thanks so much.
Perfect, Mike. Right. Thank you very much, Bill.
All right, thanks. Harvey Weinstein. Awesome. Quick break. Come right back at WIBX.